Good morning. So here we are on Saturday. We're going into a very busy weekend and week of primary and caucus activity. And I wanted to make my predictions before the uh, the weekend was out on what I expect to see this weekend in terms of primary and caucus results. So we have, I expect Barack Obama to win on Saturday. The Washington, Louisiana, uh, caucuses and primary. I believe that the Nebraska primary or caucus, I'm not sure, maybe I should know that, but I apologize. I forgot if it's a caucus or a primary. Regardless, I expect Nebraska to be a tightly contested race, and it could go either way. My reasoning there is Nebraska could look a lot like Oklahoma, which went heavily for Hillary, or it could look a lot like Kansas, which went heavily for um, Barack Obama. So it depends on how the politics of Nebraska are shifting. I predict it might be a little bit closer to Oklahoma type of political landscape. So, but I think it'll still be closer than kind of like a Missouri was last week. Uh, on Sunday, I expect a very tight, close race in Maine. It could go either way, but there definitely is no consensus of leaning heavily towards Obama or leaning heavily towards Clinton. So again, I expect those two races this weekend to be close. If they go Obama's way, and Washington and Louisiana also go Obama's way, that will be pretty good momentum building coming into the Potomac primaries. The Potomac primaries are three primaries and caucuses. I believe actually they're all three primaries. So you have Virginia, D.C., and Virginia, and Maryland. So I expect pretty big wins. 5 point, 10 point range for Barack in Maryland and D.C. I think D.C. will probably be more of a 10 point plus win because of the heavy African American population. And I'll make a point about the African American vote in a few minutes. Actually, gender and African American vote, because I hate kind of using that as a statistic, but I think we need to cover that. Uh, and then Virginia, my gut feeling, and I live in the area, uh, seems like every 7 out of 10 people I meet, uh, just walking around and talking politics, are supporting Obama. So if that's an indication, it should be about a 10 point win for Barack. I also see a lot more activity on the ground for Barack than I do for Hillary, and I think that's significant. As I drive around in Virginia, I see a lot of Obama yard signs. I haven't seen a single Hillary sign, and I'm looking. So again, does that mean anything? I don't know, but I think every little data point kind of adds up to something. So my gut feeling tells me that Barack might end up sweeping Tuesday's Potomac primary, and that could be an incredible message and signal that the Obama campaign may be sending out to those undecided voters that are on the fence. If he carries again Potomac, and then you carry Washington, which is way out there west and very liberal kind of open culture society, philosophy. Then you have the southern vote in Louisiana, which is kind of like the Katrina poor vote that is really anti-government now because of the fact that the government, and specifically George Bush and FEMA, has not really followed through on their promises to help that area. Um, I think all those things add up, and I think they're significant. So if you win in Maine and Nebraska, those two could really be the clinchers. Because if you win those two states, in addition to the ones that sort of, most people say that Barack should win, if he literally does a full win between Saturday and Tuesday, the press is going to eat that up. And I think we all have this sort of press-driven mentality. Some more, some less, to a lesser extent. I try to be as independent as I can, but I mean, I look and I read and I listen, and if the press is bombarding me with messages saying Barack is just continuing to win and the momentum's building, I could imagine Barack going out and really then going for what I call kind of like the death blow. I could imagine sending all his resources to Wisconsin and Ohio, which is just two states that if he wins both of those, you maybe concede Texas, even though it's a big state, but you kind of concede it because of the Spanish vote being the Latin vote there being so strong. If you concede that to some extent, even though the grassroots movement will not concede, but Barack at a higher level could really put all his efforts at a higher level uh, on Wisconsin and Ohio, specifically Ohio. Because if you split Ohio and Texas on the same day, then it's a half and half, while Barack has been winning all these other states. That could be a really big challenge for the Clinton camp. That's my opinion. Now, let me go back real quickly to the whole gender race thing. My thinking there is that people tend to want to vote, if everything else is even, if the policy issues, for the most part, are the same, that you feel confident with both politicians running good campaigns, and that you believe that they will either both of them will help you and your belief and your causes to come to fruition, then I think the next question will be now, who do I feel more comfortable with? Who will really understand some of the more inner, kind of deeper issues that I may face as an individual? And what's wrong with a black person voting for a black person, an African American voting for an African American? I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I expect it to some extent. And it's not a racial issue, it's the fact that how can you not say that someone who's your skin color will understand your issues on a daily basis and maybe be able to legislate to some extent understanding those issues to bring more equality and longer term eliminate racism in the country. So that's just one of kind of my observation. The same way that a woman, a voter would probably be more inclined to vote for a woman because for the longest time women have had the glass ceiling issues and salary compensation inequalities. You have the fact that less than 10% of corporations are run or administered by female leadership, and boards and so forth are not really composed of too many women. So you still have a lot of inequities in the in a population that makes up 52% of the population. So that is really to me significant. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm of Hispanic background, and if I were to see a candidate as strong and as compelling as Hillary and or Barack Obama, and he had a Hispanic background, Bill Richardson to some extent kind of is close there, even though I think he lacks a little bit of the kind of charismatic leadership that I think we also need as a people. Uh, but if Richardson would have picked up some steam and he would have been accepted by at least a third of the voters during the primaries, I would have said, hey, look at his resume. He has an incredible story to tell, and he has probably more experience than anyone else. So I would have been open to voting for him without a doubt. So, well, again, I'm going to be headed to the Jefferson-Jackson dinner tonight in Richmond, Virginia. I will be trying to do some cell phone based updates to YouTube. It'll be the first time doing that, so be easy on me. I'll do my best, and then I'll work on it and try to make it better. But I will be seeing Hillary in person today and Barack Obama speak. And for a former Republican to be invited to the Jefferson-Jackson dinner in Richmond, Virginia tonight, I'm just excited and thrilled. My wife is headed down there with me, and we're actually about to go upstairs, take a shower, and get dressed and get on the road. So I'll be reporting later on. And for those of you that are subscribing to my channel, I guess, thank you. This is my first time doing this, so I'm pretty excited. But I'll do my best to get better at it and give you good information. Thank you, and you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you probably on Tuesday or maybe earlier with some of the updates from the Jefferson-Jackson dinner. Thank you.